Hello, I am Panos Kotzathanasis, and this is ASEAN Movie Pulse Interviews. Today I'm here with Joko Anwar, Marissa Anita, and Randolph Zaini, whose series Joko Anwar's Nightmares and Daydreams just premiered in Netflix. How are you guys?
We're
Great,
fine,
thank
I'm
you.
fine. Yes,
Okay, good. Okay, good start. So,
good to see you again.
yeah, good to see you too. So, Joko, considering the title of the series, okay, when you are asleep, do you watch dreams or nightmares mostly?
Um, about equal, I think. Nightmares about the political situation in Indonesia, and daydreaming about probably next time we have next leaders, we will have something better for Indonesian. But it's just daydream, so it won't come true. But daydreaming is good for us.
Okay. And so, where does the inspiration comes from all these stories since you wrote the whole thing?
I have always been fascinated by the origins of alien life and UFOs. I think, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I think I had an encounter when I was very young with something, which um, later on I realized that probably it was UFO. So since I was very young, I have always been reading about books on UFO and alien life, the origin of alien life. And as a teenager, I was obsessed with series like The X-Files. When The X-Files ended, I was very devastated, and I even created a music on my friend's computer, and I told him that it was going to be the theme song, the opening sequence for a sci-fi series that I would do when I grew up, and I end up making Nightmares and Daydreams, and we use it for the opening sequence. So yeah, it came from my fascination and obsession with alien life, especially UFO. Honest.
And I guess the next question is for everyone. So, how was your cooperation with Netflix? How would you describe it? Randolph, maybe you can start.
It was fantastic. I think I got really lucky here, not only because of the project that I joined, but also of the support all across the board, where the creative freedom that we are allowed with, and the very solid support in all aspects of the making of the production. So I'm very satisfied. I was very satisfied throughout.
Marissa?
Yes, well, I don't know how many times I've actually worked with Netflix, but the collaboration has been amazing as a whole team, actually, because the people who are involved here, there's of course Netflix, and there's Joko, and also there's Randolph. And what I feel about these three parties, these three amazing parties, is that I have utter trust in them. And just like in any kind of relationship, it is built over time. And if we're talking about Joko, for example, I've worked with Joko frequently for the past 5 years, and I've enjoyed every minute of the process, because we can discuss anything between me and Joko for us to be able to tell the story as best as we can. And also this time I've been so lucky to have worked with Randolph Zaini, because in fact, even though this is the first time ever I've worked with Randolph, but actually previously we almost worked together. And I love his passion as well. And I think I see similarities, and I can understand why Joko also has chosen Randolph, because they share this passion in storytelling. And usually they would come up with PowerPoint presentation. So they have this similarity. They would come up with PowerPoint presentation where they would just pitch to their collaborators how exciting the story is, and I think it's been amazing working with Netflix, Joko, and Randolph.
Joko?
It has been nothing but wonderful since the ideation of the series. We talk about what we could do together. and when we doing the pre-production and the switching and post-production, all of them has been always a great collaboration. And I think the key word here is trust. Netflix really trusts us to come up with something which in terms of genre probably not something that the audience in Indonesia familiar with, but they trust us to be able to bring something while being edgy and unfamiliar, but still with relatable stories and characters. And they gave us total creative freedom. And of course, even though they gave us total creative freedom, they always give us input. And these notes and inputs, they're not something that interruptive, but really makes the series better, those notes. And one thing that is very special about the collaboration between us and Netflix, it doesn't feel like working. It doesn't feel like they are a platform and they are giving us something to work on, but it feels like family. Even now, after the story, after the series was released, and we're doing the marketing and promotion with Netflix, it feels like we are doing it together as a family. And it's not just as working partners. Last week we had our last phase of our promotional period for the series, and we missed each other, and we miss you, and when can we do this again? So it's been wonderful and very inspiring. I mean, if you work with somebody else, and if it's not working, it feels very dispiriting to you to work again, to make films again. But working with Netflix is very inspiring and make us really eager to work and make more movies and series.
And the promotion was pretty big, right? I saw the images from the premiere. That's not usual for TV, for series in Indonesia, is it?
Yeah, what do you think, Marissa and Randolph? Because I think it for me, even it's too big. I've been making a film for 20 years. I never had that kind of treatment for marketing and promotional for material for our films. I mean, the gala premiere was super huge, and everything was special.
Okay. Yeah, Marissa,
I mean, with
what
the
do you think?
costume and everything, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's why I mean, as mentioned by Joko earlier, we are indeed like a family, and I've loved working with Netflix since 2020, I think. Yeah, that was my first project with Netflix, and they always take care of us really, really well. They always launch their projects in Indonesia with a bang. And yeah, I almost feel like, well, this should be a standard. Maybe a little bit too big, I don't know, but this should be the standard to launch a project in Indonesia. I don't know. They're a trendsetter, I think.
Okay. Randolph, what do you think?
I have nothing more to add. I saw a lot of the pictures from the gala premiere. It was massive. It was unbelievable. I totally didn't expect that, but I'm glad that they did so. It shows like how much they have their skin in the game and how much they're supporting it like wholeheartedly for this project. So I couldn't be happier.
Randolph missed it because the next day after the gala premiere, he had a wedding.
Congratulations, Randolph.
Oh, really? Was your own marriage, really?
Yes.
That's why I missed it.
I think you have mixed up your priorities, man. You should have gone to the premiere.
Believe me, I tried attending the premiere, and my then fiance was like, this is the test of your life. You sure you want to do that? And I was like,
but the wedding was just as grand and beautiful as the gala premiere. So
Okay.
I attended the wedding, and it was one of the most beautiful weddings I ever attended.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, and tell me a bit, Joko, what about the logistics of the series? I mean, you have some of the biggest celebrities in Indonesia in terms of acting, and also, how difficult it was to come up with all those people for the series.
I think every time we want someone to work with us, cast and crew, either cast or crew, we would present the project first, like to Marissa and even to Randolph. When we first initiated the project, we invited them to our office and we presented the idea for the series and how the series would look like in our vision, and ask them if they are interested in the project. And we are very lucky because every time we present the project to cast or crew, they were also interested in the story and the character, of course. So far, it was quite easy. Not too many problems. Probably the only difficulties is because the 7 episodes require such a big number of cast, and we wanted each of these characters was going to be played by someone who could really act and really skillful in what they're doing. And because we wanted the project to be a showcase from Indonesia for everybody in front and behind the camera, so we wanted to be having the best cast and crew. But so far, finding them is not difficult, and presenting the idea to them was not difficult at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the next
But-
question. Oh, sorry, please.
But I think the biggest challenge that we had was the scale of the production. We produced the series in 2 years when we first start pre-production for the first episode, and we were treating the series like films. So 7 episodes meant 7 movies because we wanted to shoot them separately. So in terms of production, it's probably the biggest that we ever had in Indonesia, because it's like making 7 films in 2 years. But luckily, the cast and the crew, they're very skillful, and we had no problems creatively in terms of schedule. We also nailed the schedule because everybody worked very fast and very spot on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess next question is for you and Marissa. So you have been collaborating since 2012. Ritual was the first time, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you feel this collaboration has evolved and changed through the years? Is it better, worse? I don't know. Marissa?
Yes, well, it only gets better and better, I must say. And really, yes, you mentioned, wow, it has been, what, 12 years in a way, our collaboration. And really, I've enjoyed every minute of the process. And each time Joko entrusted a character for me to play, I do what I always do, right? I always have this opportunity to interview Joko, and also for this Nightmares and Daydreams is the same. It's basically for us to be able to, or for me to get to know the character inside out, and for us to be able to try to tell the story as best as possible. So yeah, again, I can't say it enough. I think throughout the years we've built this trust within our relationship as collaborators. And how has it changed over the years? I guess it's probably like, as Joko said earlier, it's like working with family. And I think that's how I feel over the years working with Joko.
Joko?
Randolph?
Yeah.
Oh, me.
Yeah. No, you, Joko.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
You mean the collaboration with Marissa
Yeah.
and Randolph?
Yeah, through the years. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, wow. Marissa is one of those artists who really push the boundaries. She always gave not just her best, but she always want to outdo herself in each project. So having Marissa in a project, it's like a guarantee, or it's like her being in a project makes you feel more peaceful, if that makes sense, because you know that your character and your project is going to be there because how serious and how hard she would push it to be elevated. So that's how I feel about working with Marissa. But I also have to highlight the collaboration between us and Randolph Zaini. I personally have been a fan of Randolph and his works from the first time he made his feature film Preman. I think it's such a not just well made, but a movie with really full of hearts, and it's very difficult to find a filmmaker that skillful, but also put a lot of heart in his works. And why I said I've been a fan of Randolph's works and Randolph as a person, because as a person, Randolph is someone who, just like Marissa, he would put you at ease, knowing that he would do the best, and that he will make whatever you work with them becomes even better than you imagine. And what Randolph did in Nightmares and Daydreams was such a wonderful work, and I became even more fan of his.
Okay, okay. And Randolph, can you tell me a bit about the experience of directing 2 episodes in this series, and how was your collaboration with Marissa and Joko in general?
I have been wanting to work with Marissa for quite a while now. I saw her performance in Bang Joko's movie and also in the other Netflix movie, Ali and the Ratu-Ratu Queens. And I just set my mind. I was like, I have to really work with her. Like no matter what, one project or another, I have to work with her. So when the opportunity came to be involved in Bang Joko's production, but like the stars are all aligned. So before I had my start in Indonesia, it was quite difficult even after I finished shooting my first movie. And back then, it was pandemic. I couldn't get my film in the theater, and it was hard to push it to the theater because we had no connect, and there was a lot of like skeptics when it comes to the movie. But Bang Joko is one of the basically the first one who kind of like acknowledge and support. So he has always been my navigation mentor, and I look up to him very, very much, and I always go to him for advice, whether in the business or in the film, in the creative side. So when he offered me this project and offered me like the 2 stories that I could direct, one of this, just like Holmes and Payne, the 3rd episode, I was like, I have with Marissa Anita, please, please, please. And Bang Joko, having worked with her for a while, he's like, hold my beer, I'll handle this. Don't worry. Perfect choice. And yeah, and work, like from the development side, I didn't write the script. Bang Joko wrote the script, and but even before we begin pre-production, we already talked about the story, the plot, the themes of the story, and it was such a creatively stimulating process with a lot of trust involved, a lot of vulnerabilities that I felt like, oh, okay, I know what the story is going to be, and under the supervision and guidance of Bang Joko, it just, every step of the way is filled with such assurance. When we were brainstorming and Marissa puts a lot of her understanding, her life experiences, philosophies, vulnerabilities into the character, suddenly we have a character that is, that is alive on her own. And once you have a character-driven story with all the quirks, the strengths and the weakness, the vulnerabilities of the character, it's just a lot easier to construct the story around it and how, and follow the character as she moves through the plot. So that was my experience working with Marissa and Bang Joko, and I throughout the process I learned a lot. Like every time, when you're a filmmaker, sometimes you feel like, oh, I did this and I did that, and you already know a lot. But doing this project, just you're constantly getting reminded, oh, there's so much more that you can learn from, and yeah, I'm just lucky.
Okay, great. So the next one is again for everyone. So in the episode that you are all involved, it's okay. One of the comments that the episode makes is about how artists feel the pressure between what they want to do and what their fans, the audience, wants them to make. And I was wondering, how do you feel about this concept? Do you feel it, Marissa?
It's interesting. I really don't feel that tension between those two things, right? Because I really do believe when we are presenting a good and compelling story that is character driven, we present characters that everybody can relate to, or the issues that go through people can resonate with. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it won't create that tension between those two things. And I think what we are trying to offer here with Nightmares and Daydreams in general, and also with this team in Poems and Pain, is that because when you see Rania and Laras, right? Rania is, yes, she's a writer. Not everybody's a writer, but everybody can relate to, for example, her insecurity, right? Everybody wants to do well in their lives, but sometimes they question themselves whether they can do well or not. Everybody has loved other people as well. She has this tremendous love towards this woman that she's trying to save. She also has tremendous love towards her publisher in a way, who is like a brother to her as well. And this issue of domestic violence, unfortunately, a lot of people have gone through or have seen domestic violence. And I also happened to witness it myself in my household when I was a child. So, these are only three things that I feel people can just relate or that resonate with them. So yeah, the tension for me does not exist really.
Joko?
I acknowledge the fact that when you in the position of working and the result of the product of your work will be viewed by a lot of people, and from that process you create some kind of fans. Fans usually expect you to do the same and expect you to make, if we filmmakers, they expect us to make movies that they love when they saw your movies previously. But I think that is good. That means you have people that care about your works. But sometimes if you think that's the situation that you want to keep, you want to stay in that box, it would be harmful, not just to you as a creator, as a filmmaker, but also to people who love your works. Because I think the works of a filmmaker should grow mature together as the filmmaker get more mature and the audience also. I always model my way of growing to be more mature in my filmmaking, like the band Radiohead. I mean, Radiohead, from the first time they released the album Pablo Honey until they released Moonshaped Pool, they both very distinctive. and each time they release an album is very different, but it still carry the same spirit, even though they different in a good way because they become more mature. So sometimes when fans expect me to make movies like my first film or my second film, I acknowledge that because when they were on that age, they love those movies. But I always implicitly tell them that, hey, I grow up, and my movies would be different from time to time, from another movies to another. And I think it's good for both parties, the filmmakers and the audience, because it will reflect how much we have matured in life. If that makes sense.
Of course, of course. And Randolph, have you felt this pressure?
Kind of. And to answer your question, to be completely frank, I'm not even sure myself, and I guess I'm still finding out. I mean, the ideal is always to be able to straddle the line between filmmaking as part of your identity or what you want to do, but at the same time, it's not something that it is also something that is inclusive for the people to watch, because movies are always supposed to be shared. But I guess I'm just still finding my way and learning from the greats here, how to make something that is not preachy and not exclusive, and yet at the same time still be entertaining, but still has something to say, And by something to say, I guess it's asking the right question instead of giving the answers.
The next question for Marissa. Can you tell me what drew you in the particular role, and in general, how do you pick the roles you play?
Right. Yes, well, how? What drew me, right? Okay. Well, basically, I know that this is probably quite simplistic, but because one, I trust in Joko's ability in telling stories. And when Joko mentioned, hey, Marissa, would you like to audition for Poems and Pain? And I said, yes. And then immediately I asked for the script for me to read. And I was immediately drawn into the story. I was intrigued by the characters, playing twins with different characteristics and personalities. And I was also intrigued by the issue, which is domestic violence, unfortunately experienced by a lot of people. I also love the fact that Rania is a writer, something that is pretty close to my heart. Again, because I think she's a character that is so easily relatable with most people, because she has her vulnerabilities and doubts. We all have doubts in our lives sometimes when we don't believe in ourselves, but we want to believe in ourselves. And we have the good in us, but also the dark sides in us. And also when Joko mentioned the name Randolph Zaini, that I would be working with Randolph Zaini, again, probably also earlier mentioned by Randolph, even though this is the first time we worked together, but previously, I remember so well, I was at the time in the UK, and Randolph was basically selling this idea to all of his collaborators. And I think at that time, I was also a potential collaborator, and I just remembered his passion. He literally gave me this PPT and he explained everything. Look at this, Marissa. So this is the style that we're going to do. And this is the music. This is the soundtrack. This is the feel. This is the color. And at that time when Joko said, yep, it's going to be Randolph Zaini. And I was like, yep, I'm game. I'm game. And what was your second question again, Panos?
In general, what do you search for in the roles you play?
What have I what? Sorry?
What do you search for? What kind of roles do you usually pick, let's say?
Oh, I think with roles, I tend to be drawn into characters who show complexities, but complexities that others can resonate. Complexities that offer strength and weaknesses. Characters that hopefully can make the audience feel something and probably also reflect upon themselves. Because I do believe that humans, we're so complex. And for me as an audience, I love watching films as well, and I always love it when I watch a character who can make me think and feel a lot. And the feeling doesn't have to be always positive or happy. It can be even sad. It can be mad. It can be melancholic. It can be crazy. It's like, so yeah, I tend to be drawn by characters which are like that. Yeah.
Okay, next question for Joko. Okay, apart from Randolph, you also had Ray, Farhandi, Pakpahan, and Tommy Devo for the other episodes. Can you tell me a bit about your collaboration with them?
Yeah, when the first time that Netflix greenlit the project, we know that we will need to work with more than one director because it's quite impossible. But we immediately think that it was such a big opportunity because me and the team at Kamensi Pictures always believe that as a company we need to open doors and seek collaborators that not just not just able to work on a project, but also elevate the Indonesian film scene. And it was a no-brainer for us to choose these three amazing young directors, Randolph Zaini, Tommy Dewo, and Ray Pakpahan. Obviously, as I said previously, we've been a fans of Randolph Zaini's work as a filmmaker and as a person. Ray Pakpahan is also the same. I've known Ray for a long time. He was my producer actually when I did TV commercial. But immediately from back then, we recognized his talents in storytelling and in visual also. And we asked him to join on board to do Nightmares and Daydreams. And Tommy Dewo was one of the most promising young film directors in Indonesia. He was we worked together and with Tommy as a first assistant director in many of my projects. And he began making a series, and immediately we could see that he has really wonderful skill in directing actors and visual storytelling. So with these three young directors, we not just making a series, but also, like I said, making a showcase of what the best of Indonesia can offer in terms of filmmaking. And working with these three other directors, they surprise us. I mean, we had expectation, of course, before we started this project, but the result that they gave really elevated the whole project. And yeah, I'm very thankful to have them. And hopefully we can work again.
Okay, great.
Together.
Okay, so who was the best? Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No.
Trick question.
Maybe if
it's
Randolph.
It's not a trick question. Actually, all of them I mean, like I said, they really surprised us, and the result of their episodes, it's just up there. It's very surprising. Good surprise.
Next questions for everyone again. So, which one was your favorite scene, and which one was the most difficult for you? Maybe they are the same. I don't know, but let's hear it. Randolph?
Well, if we're talking about the episode, Marissa's episode, I guess a lot of the stunts, especially when it comes to using the point of view rigging, that has always been the challenging one. It's kind of like a new territory for me to shoot something like that. But luckily, I had like the support from the team, and Marissa just basically killing it in every time she does, giving like, I don't know, like the stamina and having to stay in the character with that huge equipment around her. It's I just don't know how she does it, but yeah, there was a lot of fun, but also the most challenging part.
Marissa?
Yeah, I guess I just would love to add to Randolph. That was definitely a new experience for me. So thank you so much, Randolph, for that opportunity. It was a great learning experience because I got to help create the level of tension, I guess, in the scenes just by moving the camera in certain ways. I really enjoyed that. So thank you so much for that experience. I am definitely game for doing that again. I don't know. I mean, it's like, what are my favorite scenes? It's kind of hard because I think maybe the whole film itself, because it's just a whole package. I don't know. I think I'm subjective, but I don't know. Yeah, I like it all.
Okay. Joko?
If I could add a little bit, I guess it's not just in one instance, but throughout the story here, we have a lot of humor infused during the storyline, and I think that's something that can count also as part of my favorite part of making this, because Films and Pain is all about race against time. You know, there's like a lot of tension, and once in a while that humor, the non-misplaced humor coming at the right time. It not only it gives like a little breathing room, but also shows like how human the characters are, how relatable they are. Sometimes they react in the wrong timing, but it turns out to be funny because that's life. And I always enjoy when there's like moments when Marissa shows up, a little bit of her quirk, in like this very tense moment, and then that takes us aback a little bit, but at the same time it's like, yeah, that's completely believable. And she did a great job maintaining that. Also credit to Bang Joko's script to have it like peppered throughout, so it never comes out of nowhere. So that's my little addition there.
Okay.
Ditto.
Okay. Very good. Joko? Favorite scene and
Yes.
most difficult?
It's very hard to pinpoint the most difficult. All of them are difficult, but and like Marissa, it's very hard to pick which one is my most favorite. But the opening scene of Poems and Pain, where Marissa was really sure that there would be many people come to the book signing, but it turns out that nobody came. It still cracked me up every time I see it again. And I think it was very well acted and well directed by Randolph. And yeah, that scene always cracks me up. Even during shooting, when I see the rushes, it was like, oh my God, this is so funny. I can totally relate to that.
You were even giggling when you were writing it, right, Joko?
Yeah, and I mean, the realization by you guys are such a wonderful and really spot on.
Okay. So next question
Why
for
everybody's when Marissa said, why everybody's worried? Just relax. But her face says it all. She's also worried,
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so let me ask you one more thing, Joko. So I felt like the whole series is like a tribute to your whole career. Like you have collaborators for almost every movie you ever shot. So I was thinking, was that a choice or a necessity, let's say, for the series? Did you want it to make like that, let's say?
We actually, every time we did a project, we always scouted not just people who have worked with us previously, but also new talents. And I think Nightmares and Daydreams, there's about 40% of new talents, including people who have not acted previously in anything, either in series or films. So I think the mission is to get the best talent. It's not about having the same people who have worked with us and to be working with them again. I mean, every time we choose someone, it's not because we know them, but it's because we know that they will bring these characters, each of the characters, to a level that we would love to be. Yeah, I think that's the case. Yes.
Okay. And I guess next is the $1 million question. So is there going to be a sequel soon or later? What?
Yeah, I want to know that as well.
We hope so. I hope so.
Okay. All right. And let's say that there is one. So will there be like a superhero series after all, like full of action and stuff like that?
I don't think this movie is about people who have superpowers. It's all about when we created this series the first time, we wanted the series, the stories, the characters to reflect the people and the living in Indonesia, the current situation politically and socially. So even if we want to continue with the next season, second season, we want it still to be reflecting the life of people in Indonesia and reflecting the social issues and political issues that are going on in Indonesia at the moment. So it's about us having a situation that probably not good for us people, but the daydream is to have some hope. So it's about difficulties and hopes, realities and hope. So that will be the same theme that we will have if we have second season.
Okay. And last question, I guess, for everyone again, can you tell me a bit about your future projects? What are you working on next, apart from potentially a second season? Randolph?
Right now, I'm in the process of developing, soon going to pre-production for a movie, a theatrical movie, a feature film. So yeah, can't say much about it except the genre is going to be horror. It'll be my first horror actually. So yeah, trying it out.
Okay. Marissa?
Yes, just last month, actually, I just wrapped another exciting project for Netflix that is going to be rolled out in 2025. But for the deets, yes, I can't say much yet, Panos, but yeah, look forward to that in 2025.
And Joko, future projects? I think you already have a new movie coming out soon, something like that, yes?
Yeah, fortunately, I always have some projects cooking, even though I'm finishing another project. But it should be a surprise, and there will be good news very soon.
Okay. You are all very mysterious in that regard. Okay.
We are.
No scoops for me, no scoops. Okay.
We are your nightmares and daydreams, Panos.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much for your time. This was really a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Panos.
Yeah. If
Thanks,
I can judge from this, you all had a very good time in the series. So I think
Yes.
we did.
Yes.
I think it showed.
Yes.
I think it showed. This was great to watch. So, right. So that's it. And thank you very much again for your time. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye, Panos. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Panos. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks, Mira.
Thank you.